Hey everybody, how's it going? For today's video, I'm proud to present an up-close and personal, in-depth look at the all-new 2015 Lexus RC350 F-Sport. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the RC. We'll start it up to the engine, get an exhaust clipping over the performance data, taking on a thorough road test and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start it up, and let it run. A smart key access system is standard on all RC models. This particular one is finished in ultra white with black New Lux upholstery and perforated seating surfaces. This one also has 3-stage heated and ventilated seats. The F-Sport differs in the interior quite a bit like it does on the exterior, and we'll go through all of those differences as we go through the video. To start, just set the key fob within the interior, put your foot on the brake, and hit the dash mounted button to go. Like the IS, one of the coolest pieces of tech for the F-Sport's interior is a revised instrument cluster that takes inspiration from the LFA supercar. By pressing a button on the steering wheel, you can move the tachometer off to the right to expose a very detailed driver information system that you would then use the controls, well, on the right-hand side of the steering wheel. We'll go through all of those functions later in the video. Otherwise, when it's in its standard setting, you have vehicle temperature and fuel to either side. All RC350s feature speed proportional rack and pinion steering with electric power assistance, but available for the F-Sport rear-wheel drive is variable gear ratio steering or VGRS, equipped on our tester. The EPS setup takes 2.84 turns to lock, but with VGRS, it varies between 2.35 and 3.18 based on the speed you're traveling and driving conditions. It reduces the steering angle when turning at low speeds, such as during a U-turn or pulling into a parking space, basically by reducing the number of turns to lock. The RC steering delivers quite a bit of feedback, more than you would typically expect from one that utilizes EPS, largely thanks to its rigid mounting points. Along with an adaptive variable suspension, the F-Sport benefits from rear-wheel steering, similar in concept to classic JDM sports cars such as the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4, Nissan 300ZX twin-turbo, and more. At speeds up to 50 miles an hour, the rear wheels steer in the opposite direction to tighten the turning radius for enhanced cornering performance. Above 50 miles an hour, they turn in the same direction as the front for greater high-speed control and what's described as a more natural feeling through high-speed corners. You'll never know all that magic is working in the background. The car is agile, quick to respond, and maintains a pretty flat demeanor on curvy roads. The F-Sport steering wheel features badging down below, perforated leather across the sides, and white accent stitching. The F-Sport comes with 4 selectable driving modes, while the regular RC comes with 3. In addition to Eco, Normal, and Sport, you also have Sport Plus, which activates rear-wheel steering. Each successive mode tunes the powertrain, steering assist curve, air conditioning, and the F-Sport's adaptive suspension, the latter of which works to neutralize the RC's handling by reducing body roll and keeping the ride compliant based on driving style and road conditions. There's also a safety benefit such as anti-dive measures during panic stops, keeping the brake force evenly distributed between the front and rear. Sending power to the rear wheels through a torque-sensing limited-slip differential is an 8-speed electronically controlled automatic transmission. It has 3 driver selectable modes: normal for everyday driving and added fuel economy, sport which alters gearbox behavior to be more dynamic, and manual. Since there's full torque converter lockup from 2nd to 8th gear, manual shifting can be performed via the steering wheel mounted paddles. When in manual mode, downshifts occur in just 100 milliseconds, accompanied by throttle blips to maintain forward trajectory during spirited driving. It basically blends the shifting characteristics of a dual-clutch automatic with the added smoothness of the torque converter setup. The transmission also benefits from adaptive G-sensor AI shift technology that begins to come alive when the car is set to sport mode. It responds to changes in throttle input, working to keep the car in its appropriate gear relative to the moment. When braking into a corner, the transmission will downshift automatically and hold that lower gear through the corner, giving you far greater acceleration response when exiting the curve. If you opt for the all-wheel drive system, the 8-speed is replaced by a 6-speed automatic. No manual transmission is offered. Compared to the 6-speed, the 8-speed's first gear is 8.5% shorter, while the top gear is 2.9% taller. This example is equipped with a backup camera and adaptive guidance lines, and F-Sports get a perforated leather shift knob. So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic bifunction LED headlamps, fog lamps, as well as the hazards. Both windows are fully automatic. And we'll go ahead and check out the exterior. Upon closing the door, the vehicle will chime a few times to let you know it's lost detection of the proximity key fob. Hot on the heels of the original LS400, Lexus launched the SC for 1992. For those who remember the brand's first luxury sport coupe, it was designed to compete with the Mercedes SL, Infiniti M30, and Acura Legend, filling an important gap at the time for Toyota's newest luxury division. Production would last till the 2000 model year before an all-new SC430 hardtop convertible debuted for 2001. While the latter was cool in its own right, it was never made to be a proper sports car. It was only available with a V8, unlike its predecessor, which had the option of a 6-cylinder. For 2015, Lexus has traveled back to its roots in a way with the all-new RC. It's available in 2 main variants: RC350, powered by a 306 horsepower 3.5-liter V6, and the RCF, which borrows the 5-liter V8 from last year's ISF and now develops 467 horsepower. The RC represents the brand's first proper coupe since the first generation SC's discontinuation 15 years ago. As one who has always been a fan of the original SC, I believe the RC is an important step for Lexus in bringing some much-needed excitement to the lineup. As we've seen with the ISF and F-Sport models, along with the newest generation GS and IS sedans, the brand has shifted their focus towards performance and emotion. This new direction in no way dilutes what it means to be a Lexus if the LFA supercar is any indication. The added excitement that comes with a fresh design language and the dynamism that comes from putting a priority on driver engagement creates a car well worth considering. The RC competes in a class packed with great offerings such as the BMW 4 Series, Infiniti Q60, Cadillac ATS Coupe, and the Audi A5. I wouldn't necessarily call the RC a sports car in the same way that you would describe a higher spec Mustang or something like that, as the two are somewhat similar in size but have completely different missions. After all, at the end of the day, it's still a Lexus. They've done a fantastic job with engineering a very stiff and rigid platform that'll deliver fantastic handling and agility for the everyday driver. Looking at the car as a whole, the RC is more of a luxury grand touring type of coupe than one that's all about performance, unless you spring for the absolutely mental RCF. As with previous generations of the SC, the RC, despite being developed as a standalone model, does derive some of its architecture from other Lexus models to create the vehicle that you see here. First and foremost, it's not a two-door IS. The front underpinnings are based on a similar design found in the GS with the increased apron panel thickness, while the rear platform takes inspiration from the IS with added center floor reinforcements. However, to ensure a rigid structure with having 2 large doors, the center section is reminiscent to the previous IS convertible that benefits from enlarged rocker panels that are significantly larger than what you would find on an IS sedan. Keep in mind, the RC is not a Frankenstein concoction of parts bin pillaging. Each structure was specifically tuned to give the RC a very distinct quality and behavior, unlike anything else in the Lexus portfolio. As seen with the new IS, which launched for 2014, the RC utilizes a plethora of new construction techniques for Lexus that includes laser screw welding, additional spot welding, and high-strength body adhesive, the latter also being used for securing the windshield and backlight. Added bracing to the radiator support number 2 crossmember along with a front A brace, center tunnel brace, and trapezoidal rear brace also add to rigidity. Everything connects together to make the RC feel like a genuine sports car. The styling is perhaps the most controversial aspect of the RC's overall design. While polarizing to some, it gives Lexus a distinct identity that sets it apart from the rest of the competition. Of course, aerodynamics played a key role in the styling, helping shape the wind as it passes over the body, leaving no surface without a purpose. Having less wind resistance, the RC has a 0.33 drag coefficient, typically leads to improved fuel economy. Used effectively, the airflow can reduce lift and create downforce. A flat underbody features aero-stabilizing fins strategically placed, along with a specifically designed guide behind the front bumper to reduce vortex formation and increase airflow to the radiator. Large ducts in the front bumper channel air for brake cooling. More aero fins can be found on the A-pillars and tail lamps, smoothing the air around the mirrors and rear quarters, reducing turbulence for a quieter interior. Fender liners improve airflow around the tires, again reducing unnecessary turbulence as well as potential lift. More modifications underneath the rear create negative lift, drawing the car closer to the pavement at high speeds. Pair that with a sculpted rear spoiler in the deck lid, and it also helps keep the rear end planted, especially with the wide rear tires. The silhouette is aggressive, even more so for the F-Sport, which receives a unique front fascia amongst other subtle details. The split headlamp design, echoed with the new IS and NX crossover, takes some time to get used to, but after a while, you'll come to think of them as one of the car's most defining exterior highlights, along with the new spindle grille. Tighter body gaps and a laser-brazed roofline finish off the very clean look. All in all, the RC is a proper looker and a big departure for Lexus when you look at the original SC of the 1990s. It marks the beginning of the next generation of Lexus sports cars. The RC F-Sport wears a unique set of asymmetric alloy wheels, combining a bright machined face and dark gray inner portions in a distinct tin twin-spoke design. Measuring 19 by 8 inches in front and 19 by 9 inches in the rear, they're wrapped in two 35/40 and two 65/35 Dunlop Summer Performance tires respectively, and have been tested to hold around 0.86 g of lateral acceleration. All RCs feature 4-wheel internally ventilated disc brakes with 5-channel 5-sensor ABS, electronic brake force distribution, and brake assist, in addition to stability and traction control. Up front, the standard brakes consist of 13.15-inch rotors with 12.2-inch rotors in the rear, paired with lightweight aluminum calipers, 4-piston and single-piston respectively. The F-Sport receives larger 14.06-inch 2-piece front rotors with high-friction brake pads. With this setup, the car can be brought to a stop from 60 miles an hour in about 120 feet. Underneath, the RC gets a fully independent suspension composed of double wishbones in front with high-mount upper arms and a multi-link rear suspension with tow control link. Coil springs and monotube dampers can be found at each corner, in addition to front and rear stabilizer bars. Lexus was able to use much higher damping forces this go-around simply due to the rigidity of the new platform. As stiff as it is, it still rides like a proper Lexus. When the drive mode is set to normal, the car is very smooth, even over rough pavement. You do feel the bumps, but it's just enough feedback to make you aware, never is it unsettling. Of course, with the F-Sport's adaptive suspension, dynamic handling, and rear-wheel steering systems, placing it into Sport Plus firms it up even further, to a completely different beast almost, to tackle your favorite curves. Overall length is 184.8 inches, with a width of 72.4 inches and a height of 54.9 inches. It rides on a 107.5-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight, as you see here, is around 3,748 pounds. The RC350 is powered by an all-aluminum 3.5-liter V6. It develops 306 horsepower, 6,400 RPM, and 277 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. Performance and economy numbers somewhat mirror that of the new IS350, as both cars carry the same powertrain. Unlike the IS lineup, the RC is not available with the smaller 2.5-liter V6. The 2GR-FSE engine features double overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, a compression ratio of 11.8 to 1, and a 6,500 RPM fuel cutoff. In addition to variable intake and exhaust valve timing, the engine combines direct-to-cylinder fuel injection with secondary port injectors, said to benefit emissions and efficiency. Expect 0 to 60 times to be around 5.8 seconds, with a quarter-mile time of 14.3 seconds and a top speed of 143 miles an hour. Accelerating harder will reveal an intake sound generator, which opens up after the pedal is pressed past a predetermined threshold. It fills the cabin with a far more aggressive sound. that can make it a little bit better is a ladder stock exhaust, maybe even a dual mode variable exhaust system. Otherwise there is a sport exhaust system available from the factory. The RC is certified as an ultra-low emissions vehicle. It requires 91 octane fuel and carries a 17.4 gallon tank. Estimated fuel economy ratings are between 19 miles to a gallon in the city and 28 on the highway, with an overall average around 22 miles to a gallon. What I like the most about the RC styling-wise is how distinctive the interior is in the Lexus lineup. It's very exciting, it's very different, and it strays from the norm. Of course, build quality is phenomenal and really gives off a proper sport coupe vibe. A lot of the interior elements across the dash and center console are somewhat related to the IS sedan, but there's plenty of unique cues to set the RC apart. The majority of the door panels are wrapped in premium soft-touch material with color accent stitching flowing across the armrest and center portion. All of your power accessories are located on the door, including your locks, windows, mirrors, memory function, and storage located down below. Genuine wood trim is standard on the RC unless you go for the F-Sport, in which case it's replaced by aluminum like you see here. The seats are also specific to this model. They feature far greater lateral support up top and down below. Attention to detail is first rate. You have a unique stitch pattern coming across the middle portion of the seat, which is perforated to allow for heated and ventilated functions. The headrest is fully adjustable. Both front seats are also powered, with the driver's seat gaining two-way power lumbar. The headrests are fully adjustable. In addition to a plethora of airbags found throughout, you also have a standard driver and passenger side knee airbag, an aluminum scuff plate, logoed floor mats, and F-Sport specific aluminum pedals, and a dead pedal off to the left. The steering wheel is power tilting, telescoping. In the bottom right, you have your parking sensors, blind spot monitoring system, interior lighting dimmer, and a fully padded dash with stitched accenting. White LED illumination provide extra ambiance at night, along with the F-Sport's black headliner. A sunroof is available. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. So let's go ahead and shut her up. This RC features the available Mark Levinson premium surround sound system with 17 speakers, 7.1 channel architecture, and a total of 835 watts, all routed through the Lexus Inform infotainment system. I've gone more in depth into Inform in previous videos such as the NX200T F-Sport, so if you want to see how it all works, including the LED lit trackpad down in the center console, check out the link provided in the description box below. Soft padded A-pillars with side curtain airbags, grip handles up top, and padded visors. You have a vanity mirror and LED illumination. In the middle, a beautiful frameless rearview mirror with 3-position garage home link and auto dimming feature. Up in the top stack, you have your hands-free Bluetooth microphone, SOS Safety Connect emergency roadside assistance, and your LED interior lighting. This button activates it when you open up the doors. Otherwise, your main lighting right here and your reading lamps to either side are actually touch sensitive. Just tap in the area will automatically turn on the lighting. Continuing down the center console, amongst the two center air vents and satin bright work, you have an elegant analog clock. Right beneath that, at the top of the stack, is a standard dual-zone electronic automatic climate control system. It incorporates some touch controls which are pretty cool. Your temperature adjustments to either side. You can either swipe your finger up and down to change the temperature, or just tap it. It's accompanied by an audible beep. You can also adjust the climate control from the climate screen in the infotainment system, from your different zones, to temperature to either side, and even some more detailed settings. And of course your one-touch automatic, different zones, fan speed, front and rear defrost including heated side view mirrors, AC and recycling. Towards the bottom of the stack, you have an in-dash CD player, changing the radio modes, media modes, track, preset selection, play, and pause. Both of the main radio knobs, including the power volume, tune, and scroll, are made of solid aluminum. They have a rough finish to them, very nice to the touch. You have a bit of brush trim down below here, and behind this little faceplate, you have the SD card for the map. Not to mention 3-stage heated and ventilated seats for both of the front occupants. The center console itself is outlined in soft touch material, as you can see, with color accent stitching, and it all flows into the center console, which is padded and also features the color accent stitching. Of course, like we talked about earlier, you have your remote touch controller, different drive modes, 2 cup holders, and underneath the console lid is a pretty good amount of space. It's all lined in felt, has a 12-volt power outlet, auxiliary input, and 2 USB ports. As far as the steering wheel, your multifunction controls are located on the upper spokes. The left-hand side houses your radio controls, hands-free telephone, and voice commands.
Please say a command.
Help.
Help. Please wait for the beep. Before saying a command, you can see available commands by saying a menu name, such as phone menu or go to navigation. Commands from all menus are available on this screen. You can push the talk button at any time to interrupt the prompts. To cancel voice recognition, please push and hold the talk switch.
Cancel.
Cancel. Voice recognition has been canceled.
We briefly talked about this earlier, but your driver information controls are located right here. Pressing this button slides the tachometer off to the right and yields it within the TFT screen to the left-hand side. You have your basic trip and fuel economy data, an eco indicator that'll show up when in eco as well as normal mode so you can modulate throttle input for the best fuel economy, tire pressure monitoring system, gear position, which is kind of cool when you're going down the road, navigation data, audio, cruise control, messages and alerts, as well as settings where you can personalize various aspects of the vehicle. Hit the back button to go to the previous menu. And of course, in this expanded format, down below you have the vehicle's fuel, outside temperature, as well as vehicle temperature up top. The stalk down below here is for your cruise control and adaptive cruise features. When in adaptive cruise, this button right here will adjust how close the RC will follow the vehicle in front of you. So regardless of whether you're in this menu, it tells you radar ready, and this one kind of expands it out a little bit more, and then that button right there, you can adjust how closely it'll follow. Alrighty. To gain access to the rear seat, you're going to want to first unsnap the seatbelt, if you have it in this little holder right here. Then grab the black handle, pull it, and tip it forward. The seat will electronically slide up for you. Climbing into the back seat is a different story. I mean, the car really is more of a 2+2 configuration than a true 4-seater. There's just not a whole lot of headroom and legroom. I recommend people maybe around 5.5 feet or even shorter can sit back there, but I'm 5'10" and I really don't have enough appreciable head or legroom to really feel comfortable for any long period of time. Down below you do have a center console with a little storage tray. I wish it was a little bit of a softer material, but the same padding that you find on the doors, including the midsection, also continues into the rear, which is a nice touch. As with the front, the rear seats are perforated and still have the unique rib pattern across the middle, 2 adjustable headrests, and LED illumination. You also have child seat anchors down below. Bringing it back, it'll automatically slide back to its original position. Go ahead and shut her down. And we'll check out the rest of the vehicle. As far as cargo space, the RC packs around 10.4 cubic feet, which is fairly modest, but typical of this particular class. It has a cargo net that you can actually collapse and zip up in a nice storage bag, a first aid kit, cargo tie-downs, and if you need some extra space, you can always fold down the 60-40 split rear seat by those little tabs on the back. The passenger seat features the same power adjustments that you would find in the driver's seat, only it doesn't have the extra adjustable lumbar. Down below, you have a locking glove box with a modest amount of space. It's all lined in felt. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2015 Lexus RC350 F-Sport. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.